So let's extend the energy through our bodies, the awareness field through our bodies. Because awareness awakens awareness. And let's extend the energy, this awareness, this field to the immediacy of our situation, which is each other. So we'll extend. And then we can extend this awareness to our ancestors, the generational field. And then we can extend it to all the great teachers and yogis and gurus. We have the good fortune of meeting, who we have that subtle connection with. And then we can extend this awareness to all the traditions we participate in, themselves fields of knowledge, information, and light. And to different lineages, which is the persons who are connected with this, that we we have a connection with. And all this mix in our body, and we become universal people. Tribal boundaries are thinning. They'll extend to that dimension of our own awareness, which is so mysterious. The archetypical, the archetypes, the energy vortexes, the deities, dakinis. Sambhogakaya. With all these extensions, we're embodying awareness. And bring our mind into this awareness. And then as we do this, we can experience within duality, non-duality. And within non-duality, duality. Just as ordinary people. The past summer with our smaller groups, which I really enjoyed a lot, we've been working with people individually, working with that dimension of the Sambhogakaya dimension, that awareness that's more directly within the light of awareness in its elemental manifestations. I've been focusing on that for a period of time. I'll start to change that now. And one of the reasons why we we do this, because there's a seminar ultimately on psychotherapy. The more that you and I are in awareness, because our own awareness is the instrument, then the more you and I have slowly but surely access to the different dimensions of awareness, then when we work with people, we will be able to be useful to help people access those different dimensions, right? That makes sense, huh? And in the Dzogchen tradition, that's usually associated with the Enigma tradition. Not always. The Kagyu tradition also has masters of the Dzogchen as well as Mahamudra. But the Dzogchen tradition itself, this becoming aware of awareness, its two major methods, if you will, is cutting through and leaping into. Cutting through means opening up my experience of phenomena within myself and around me, and I experience the nature of the phenomena as space and light, or openness and radiance, emptiness and light, luminosity, clarity, many different metaphors. So, and one of the best ways, I'm rambling a little bit, but one of the best ways is simply to focus on our own inner self, which is not our mind. Or as Husserl said, what is the wonders of all wonders, the great phenomenologist, because it's also seminal with phenomenology, the Western counterpart. What is the wonder of all wonders? Pure awareness, and the doorway is our own subjectivity, huh? He didn't say my mind. That's why to do this at times we suspend our mind one way or the other. Like gazing, we suspend our mind. Would you press record? Is this thing recording right now? Thanks, Jeff. On that little box, the recording thing, not the... Yeah, is that recording? And then play. Play should do it. Thanks, great. So, we suspend our mind. That's not the only way, but... And then that frees this awareness to become aware of its own self. Usually my mind is not in awareness. My mind's in its own self. And even if I become aware of my mind, then I'm mindful, I'm witnessing my thoughts, witnessing my sensations, and it's all really good to know the difference between a thought and a sensation. And it's really good to know when you start witnessing your mind, you start to have some sense, I'm not just my mind. That's a real breakthrough. Wow, I'm not just that. And then when we start to free our understanding of the metaphor of the self as simply being a function of the mind or a thought, and then we start to become aware of awareness. And then the door really opens. And we're doing it right now. And sometimes that first encounter with awareness is rather bleak, because it feels like the abyss, no thingness, emptiness in its darkest way, nihilistic, falling. That's it, I quit. I'm out of this. None of this for me. Or if I can stay with it, and I can find, as Winnicott would say, the use of certain self-objects. It could be a person sitting next to me. It could be a symbol. It could be the desire of the experience itself. It could be another person I met who I could feel that in, or someone who could feel that in me. It could be a song. It could be a dog, even a cat. But some something or someone that helps resonate this dimension to me. Because with that self-object function, could be a mantra, aham, I then have enough stability to enter into this openness, space. It opens. And then, in time, it becomes clarity, becomes luminous, becomes light, becomes very direct. I may actually experience apparitions, and the energy of the apparitions. Some may be foreign to me completely. What is this? Some may be very natural, traditions I grew up in. But I am now embodying awareness. And I feel the light of awareness, the energy of awareness, the pulsation of awareness, the emanation of awareness in my own body. Then I pop back into my mind. Go do this and that. But I don't feel the same stability anymore. Then I slowly but surely begin to feel this awareness. As I just attend to it, it starts to rise in me naturally, subsuming my mind, or I allow my mind to drop into this awareness, this field, this sea of chi, energy and light. Then in time I start to think in awareness and feel in awareness. So that I start to have no longer the dissociation, that primary dissociation between my mind and this field of awareness, this space of awareness, this light of awareness. They become non-dual. They're still different, but they're non-dual. And then also, as I'm experiencing this in myself, lo and behold, I start to feel this in the person next to me, right there. Not quite thinking it, but I feel this resonance. If I feel her, I feel him, suddenly this awareness expands in me. Like, oh, this is really interesting. Then I learn to experience this awareness both within me directly and through others directly also. And so what's happening is directness is opening up for me. Gnosis. Ultimately awareness is direct perception. Directness. Then I'm starting to experience this awareness resonating with people and animals and things and places. A room. I walk into a room and I feel this resonance. And some of the people I really like, and amazing, some of the people I can't stand. You with me? But that resonance is there. You with me? So I can see where my mind has its own little preferences and idiosyncratic likes and dislikes, and yet then I experience this dimension of indivisibility and actually an affection, which actually is the great compassion, is an affection that's actually not based so much on liking and disliking. That's actually a fantastic relief. I'm no longer in high school. I like you, I like you, I don't like you. I like them. At that point, this resonance starts taking us beyond our mental prejudices. And this is all totally natural. Totally natural. And as we do this, we're cutting through or unpacking And sometimes these cutting through and Togo practices can seem formally much more separate than they actually are. You with me? As if they're two great different practices. And you can look at that way, and sometimes you can shout pet or pot when your mind is locked into something, or there's some kind of obscuration. But it's the understanding of unpacking it, of opening everything, phenomena. First, we have to open it in our own doorway, huh? Then it takes one to know one. That's our second. Two awarenesses are better than one. It takes one to know one. And as I know it in me, I can know it in you. And that's really a relief. That resonance. And then as you go to the Togao practices, which are gazing practices of the light. And this is where we're going to go from a lot of this semester, since we're having this wonderful visitor come. We're going to be talking a lot back on Togao, light. And there are formal gazing practices, which is really useful to do, but really and truly, and many of you guys know that, and I may at some point have some of these formal practices. Someone, either Elizabeth or Skip, may take it and show the DVD of Kunzen Daichin Lipa teaching the Ninti Gyabashi, which has these practices, or the practices of Rinjin Dorje also talking about this. Okay, you can see but it's good to know it, but it's not necessary. Okay, from my little book pamphlet that. And I studied this form with different people, but with Namkhe Norbu, people would say, Namkhe Norbu, when are you going to teach us Togao? So, Togao is very, very advanced. I don't teach it except to a very few particular people. So, maybe it could be me, right? Everybody thinks, right? And then a few hours later, he'd say, okay, let's go outside. And we'd all sit without any formality, any particular posture, because people would always ask about posture, especially the Hatha yogis, the 7 forms, the 8-step, this and that. And the posture of Dzogchen is like the Himalayas. Slim, fat, this way, that way, leaning up, leaning down, all these different ways. No one posture. Sort of like where you're at is it. Okay? Preference. And so you have in Togao 3 different postures which we'll focus on. And 3 gazes. You with me? But Lama Namkhe Norbu would just say, let's just gaze. And just sit. It's quite beautiful, just gazing. We can do that now. Just open our mouth up a little bit if you want to. And the mouth, though being open, is like receptivity. More, please. Yes. And you can gaze. You can gaze sometimes in the middle of the space. You can just gaze right in that midpoint. Or I can gaze into a tanka, gaze into that yogi. I'm going to gaze into Jeff's chest. And this gazing, though you can use the eyes, and there's one gaze is up, so you're looking up like so. One gaze is direct. One gaze is down. There's another gaze to the right. Another gaze to the left. You can do whatever one you like. But gazing. Gazing into phenomena. We gaze into the sky. Sky gazing is really great. Awareness. The space of awareness meets the space of the sky-like awareness. And then when you understand, you begin to feel everything is anima mystic. The sky is alive. Everything is alive. Everything is awareness as it manifests. As you cut through, then you're gazing into liveness. Huh? And then the light begins to manifest. It's like the light can manifest inside. It also starts to manifest around you. Gazing. And if you want, you can also feel the mantra pulsating in your being. It's all the same light vibrating, manifesting, and heat arises. Sometimes you gaze with your eyes closed. Sometimes you gaze with your eyes open. I find in the morning I love meditating with my eyes closed, gaining stability. And then from bored of the meditation, just gazing into the darkness. One of the great things is gazing into the darkness. Gazing in the darkness. And then also we start to generalize between our eyes. And we start to gaze with our whole body, right? It's almost like the field is gazing into the field. So if you're in the field right now and you feel the resonance of the energy itself, like the tanka of Avalokiteshvara there, is 1,000 eyes. So your entire body is all these eyes gazing. Gazing into the room, gazing into these icons that are doorways. You can even gaze into memory, a person whom you loved. Gaze into future. Gaze into the present. Gazing. And as you also know, gazing is pretty interesting because gazing is both receptive and active. Gazing is not just passive, huh? It can be. But actually when you're in the gaze and you're gazing with your body, it's both receptive and it's transmittory. It transmits simultaneously. That's why the most direct way of the transmission of energy is through the gaze, huh? Through the look. Winnicott used to write about the gaze and talking about the great paintings of the Madonnas with that gaze that looks through, the gaze that looks through. That is the Dzogchen gaze. The Dzogchen gaze is the maternal gaze in a certain way, gazing into phenomena, through phenomena, and then with your whole body. Say yes if this is making sense. So this is gazing, okay? So as we're gazing, we're actually working with both the space and the radiance of awareness. I'm also going to recommend some of Dujum Lingpa's books, because Dujum Lingpa, who later became Dujum Rinpoche, who became another person who I miss seeing, but was a master of Togao. Perhaps the greatest writer on Togao is Dujum Lingpa. And he considers it's the briefest, that if you gaze, and with some degree of gazing, liberation is yours. Liberation, meaning freedom, is yours. And I'll mention the text that you might want to look at. Gazing. And if you live by a beautiful lake like Steve's here right now today, is he here? Here he is. If you live by Steve's lake, it's so great to gaze. Here to gaze, I have to walk outside, look straight up for a few moments before the clouds come. But there's also gazing into humanness, right? Gazing into humanness. So there's always culture, right? So if I live in Tibet, I'd be gazing. We'd be sitting on a little mountain right now and I'd be gazing, right? But here we're in downtown DuPont Circle, right? Thousands of people all around, all the time. So that's where we gaze, right? See all these people, we work with people, we gaze, we gaze, we gaze. We gaze with our whole body. We gaze into effortlessly. And sometimes we pause, we go back into our own awareness, suspend our mind. We go back into gazing, integrating our mind, and we gaze into our situations. And as we gaze, there's both an opening where the light becomes to come to us through resonance, through the other people, the energy, right? You might feel it right now coming into you. And then also it's going from you, the transmission. So gazing is transmission. And gazing is an extension of the light into the light. And one of the great things we've known by extending so much, when we extend to another person, what happens? It comes back immediately, right? Say yes if you know that. So, in a truest sense, Togao, the gazing, is acts of transmission. Some of us studied Vajrakalaya. We studied Vajrakalaya in the beginning of this year, especially on Saturday mornings. And Vajrakalaya is simply, which was instituted by Pamasambhava, the yogi of the light. And up to about the 7th century, we're going a little more formally, the first turning of the wheel of Dharma, and talking from a Buddhist side, was when Gautama taught the Four Truths with a very purposeful intent, but it was very psychological, It had to do with psychology a lot. And at that time, psychology and causality. What you do comes back at you. Life is suffering. And desire is a source of that. So you want to get beyond that. That's the first turning. It's not a favorite of mine, and I have no allegiance to it. I come into this story much later, out of preferences in nature. Just like you may, or you may not. A lot of this, as Lama once said, it all depends what you like personally. It's all very personal. And you can like something, but if it's not personal, it doesn't mean anything anyway. It's personal, it's what counts. The second turning comes in the 2nd century AD. So from the 5th century BC to the 2nd century, and Narguna comes, the second Buddha. And he really opens up because he starts bringing cosmology. When Buddha died, when Gautama died, it was very disturbing for people, because what does this mean now? We have no more Guru, no more Buddha. Buddha's gone, thus gone is gone. And it was, but out of any loss, out of anything that's loss, that brings us to the edge of potentiality. Any loss brings us to the edge of potentiality. And out of that dissolving, out of that disappearance, something's going to appear. Say yes if you're following me. You with me? You may not like it. You're probably not going to like it. But something's going to open that was not there before. So the second opening comes Narguna. Narguna, first of all, says you can say nothing positive about causality. Human beings think they know causality, but it's a very, very confusing thing. There's so many different levels. It's infinite. And a lot of times we think we know a lot more about karma than we do. So just be quiet. Be careful about what you say in terms of affirmations, because you're going to fuck up. But he did say, because out of this, he swam into the sea where the Nagas are and brought up the Heart Sutra. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. What? Form is emptiness. Emptiness. Form. And when he would speak about this emptiness, he would say, it's not this, it's not that, neither this nor that. He didn't quite have a word for potentiality in that language, but he would do it through deconstruction, like Derrida, the contemporary Derrida. Any guys know Derrida? Dorita, thank you so much. Good having educated people here at Derrida. I always said didn't seem right, I guess. But Derrida, Dorita, that sounds much better. Dorita would deconstruct. So he deconstructed, and what remained was the experience itself of emptiness, right? And yet form is emptiness, emptiness is form. That opened up the cosmological dimension. Say yes if you're following this. So there's now a cosmology. There's now creativity. This is a big step. Big step. And so this continues on. And then in the 4th century, an amazing text arose, Uttara Tantra. The Uttara Tantra was the Tantra. Now it's now the 4th century. Buddha lived in the 5th century, and it was on Buddha mind. The Buddha is not a person. The Buddha is emptiness. The Buddha is this knowingness. This is the Buddha. Wisdom, Gnosis. Wisdom mind. Huh? So then, that Tantra is really powerful, huh? And it's what's transforming people's experience now in a positive way. So you start to have the positive, that we could actually say something positive about phenomena is now emerging, right? Then, and then the tantric texts start being born also, which is ultimately about, in a certain way, respiration. Not the same as breathing. We touched that before. The respiration level, the vibrational level of all this. Then we come to the 8th century. I hope this is not boring you. The 8th century, and a text arises again. Gaudaba Tantra, 8th century. It's the Tantra of light. It's the Tantra of non-duality. And the person who follows with that is Padmasambhava. Padmasambhava, who is actually brings Dzogchen, or one of the carriers of Dzogchen, to Tibet, and some of the people with him. And he's a highly fictionized person. Fiction is not a bad thing here. Fiction is the symbolic level manifesting itself. That's why when you relate to that symbolic level, energy and light opens for you. You with me? Now, there was a lot of interface, and this is where the priest will be coming in this great text, because there was Kashmir Shaivism in this, there was Chan Buddhism in this, there were the Christian Gnostics in this, because the Gaudaba Tantra begins to speak about the light, radiance. So now, as some of the teachers have said, the Mahayana teachings are incomplete. Huh? My Mahayana, yes, because it's only about emptiness. The completeness comes because everything takes time. That's why hermeneutics was, everything unfolds over time, including our own selves, the unfolding of the experience of the truth. And so now it's radiance and the light. So with this, you start having these methods arising that have to do with the light. Say yes if you're understanding this, right? So that's where, so Padmasambhava, and we'll go more into this next week, was a master of the light, and many of his methods are methods of working with the light. Are you getting something out of this? Making sense? If it doesn't make sense, then you just feel like a little puppet, you know, doing things.
What you're saying then is that turning of the wheel was going from emptiness to light filling the emptiness.
I would say it another way, that form is light, and light is form, and light is emptiness, and emptiness is light. Or to use Longchenpa, who doesn't use the word emptiness in the 14th century, space. Space. There's no difference between spaciousness and light. Who also struggles with this is Heidegger. And actually you wrote something about that one time, on that word, on clearing. Lungtung? Lingtung? Okay, anyway. So from the West, the same thing. Heidegger starts enjoying and looking at awareness and the opening of awareness. He begins to experience, first of all, Dasein is openness. First it was their being, but as he started exploring it, became openness. That human beings are open. That's why we call them ecstatic. Open. Openness. So here's this paper here that's open, but that paper is different than my openness to the paper, because this presence of the paper is coming into me right now. So that openness. Then meaning the openness, he starts to realize this openness, he starts describing it as a clearing in the field, because he lived around the woods, right? And he used it. And this clearing is the light in the woods is a function of the space in the clearing. You with me? So clearing and space became more one, or my awareness is the light of awareness. You follow me? And Kashmir Shaivism also, Varmarsa, which is the light of awareness, but it's also the space of awareness. That's why we're working primarily with space and light. Say yes if this is making sense. The entire Dzogchen thing is paradox. Transitional space is becoming master of paradox. So the other master of paradox in this is time and timelessness. And I'm running in it. And time, so one is light, the transmission of light, the experiencing of light, the living in light, the light of awareness, the light of the body, becoming the light, feeling the light, seeing the light, and in time when we touch the light. So I'm touching right now. So the touch is different because there's an aliveness in the touch, pulsation. It's not just meat. It's alive, the Vajra body, right? And this is everybody's capacity, right? So that's why you want to demythologize it a lot, that it's certain, you need certain outfits or schedules. You want to get beyond that. This is natural. This is mystic humanism from my point of view. It's the very mysticism of being a human being, huh? That this light and space are here coming through. You guys follow what I'm saying? You have to believe any of this. But another paradox is time and timeless. Because as we enter awareness, let's do it right now. Because if we can't do it, doesn't mean anything. Let's go into awareness, which we're in already. Let's extend to each other with our whole bodies. You extend to me. We extend together. Inner yin meets the outer yin. And in that non-duality that arises, this is where you have to be open. Do you perceive timelessness right now, at this moment? Say yes if you do. Timeless awareness. And now, and sometimes in meditation you're just in timeless awareness. But that's why being simply in timeless awareness ain't enough. You want to be timelessness in time. So now we want to integrate time. Timelessness is awareness. Mind is time. My mind is time. My awareness is timeless. If I integrate my mind and awareness, I can experience timeless in time as a plain ordinary person. And when I experience timelessness in time and time in timelessness, then natural liberation begins to open for me. Whatever I am experiencing, I'm experiencing it in timelessness. And that essentially liberates me. I don't like the word realization. It has too many connotations to me. Realization. Liberation doesn't. More naked. More available. So then we start playing with time. One of the people I was gratitude, and all the great yogis who many of you guys have met, but when Jim Dalby, I'm in Nam K. Norbo's seminar retreat, we studied with about 6 years with him, so we like to do it mostly 6, 7 years, and then move on because I like having more than one view. When you have more than one view, you have to have your own thoughts. You only have one view, may not be your thoughts. Doesn't mean they're not great thoughts. They're just not your thoughts. You don't have an opinion. You're a catechism reader. But if you have your own thoughts, and it's a struggle to have your own thoughts, and you start making it yourself, boldness, as Muktananda would say, then when we're in a retreat, and for some reason Jim Dalby walks over to me and says, Rudy, timeless awareness, timeless awareness. That's the secret. And it was one of those little transmissions. Went right into me. Timeless awareness. Great. So we're holding timeless awareness in time. We're holding gaze. The light. In every situation. You might even look at karma, past life, as just ways of expanding your perception. You with me? I forget about all the moral things. I bit the dog, now the dog's going to bite me 20,000 years later or something. I don't remember the dog. But I do think life after life expands our range. You with me? I have a nice little tiny range, Swan Street range. And the next minute, I'm reborn in Syria, expanding my range, right? And also bringing what you are into that situation, right? It's a non-causal way of looking at this stuff. We're almost done. So we've been so focusing on the gaze. The classical method is sky gazing. We actually all have empowerments. And those who weren't here for the empowerments, how I look at this, if some of us have empowerments, other people get empowered through. I never think an empowerment is for myself. Give it to me, baby, suck it. I think an empowerment is always for other people who we meet. Empowerment, just like anything. Awareness doesn't, intersubjective awareness is never a possession. That's my empowerment. Thank you so much. It doesn't really work like that. And empowerment is an empowerment of awareness that empowers other people also. You can think that way if you want. It feels more generous. It feels less spiritually narcissistic. You with me? It feels more open and it feels truer. So those empowerments, if you didn't get those empowerments, and many people have those empowerments, and the lineages are floating around, and you have that empowerment too. Empowerment is like a kiss. It's not just the external form of the kiss, that's the kiss. If it is, not much of a kiss. It's true. You can tell the difference, right? The texts themselves are kisses. But you want to read the text not in your mind, you want to be in awareness. So you want to be in awareness when you read the text. And then the kiss will come through. The same thing with looking at great paintings. I once had a person come here to look at some of the tankas and tell me about them. But he also did the business of tankas. So I went up to my office. I'm chatting a little bit today, okay? And he goes up there, Mok, and looks at the tanka there, and he starts going through the details of the tanka, how much the tanka might be worth. Wait, we had a mismeeting at that moment. Because there was a quantitative mind thing. It really wasn't mutually gazing into the tanka and see what the tanka manifested in us. Right? So rather than gazing with the sun or the moon or the candlelight, we gaze within each other through the radiance of awareness, through this extension of awareness, through the light of awareness. The gazing is not with eyes alone, but embodiment, embodied gaze. And this is why the method is so great and so powerful and so direct for self-liberation. Dzogchen, actually the word Dzogchen is a metaphor for Rigpa, means becoming aware of awareness through the embodiment. So all this is embodiment. This is not a dissociative approach. It's not let me out of here, man. So the cutting through is unpacking the phenomena. Oh, there's this feeling of hatred. Let me open it a little bit more. It's so hot, so murderous, so fire. Now I start to experience the fire of it, the heat of it, burning, the light of it, the energy of it. Now I'm consuming it. My awareness is now consuming this affect. That's why it's like food. I'm consuming it. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not dissociating from it. Bad dog. I'm taking it in. I'm metabolizing it. The power of awareness is metabolization. Winnicott understood this, didn't he? Winnicott understood the power of transitional space. Great word, right? Space. And how to enter space. Not be located in the mind. Then slowly integrate our functions of the mind into space. Gnosis is a spacious experience, direct perception. Unpacking, cutting through. Do you know how to cut through phenomena? Do you know how to cut through or open your experience yet? That's why knowing the narrative of your life is really useful. But, or and, it gives you a context. But knowing the narrative can be a deceiving experience. This is not to know the story. But the story, like any story, can captivate us to such a point that we're now lost in the story forever and ever and ever. But through this understanding of awareness and having the base of awareness, then you and I can hear our story or someone else's story in its clarity and its thinness. It becomes a thin story. The papers become thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. Like old skin. True. Like old skin. No more life in it. Really. Drops away. So working with memory is really tricky. You want to work with memory to dissolve memory. Winnicott would talk about this, right? Because a lot of memory is first of all dissociative experience. So then you bring the memory into the awareness, not in mind alone. If it's in mind alone, you're going to have another level of information in your mind that will just torment you relentlessly. But if you can bring it into awareness, transitional space, that's what we'd say without transitional space, the healing that you want to take place will not take place. Say yes if you're following this. So as you bring this into awareness, this is why meditation is really useful on awareness, then you cultivate this space, you cultivate this thing that when whatever that memory is, I can metabolize it. I can bring it in slowly but surely. And by holding it in awareness, sometimes with another person or group or with an archetype, I metabolize that experience. I dissolve it. And then, like most memories, then the natural foreclosure that Freud spoke about, the foreclosure of memory, begins to take place. And now it's actually a memory for me. It's an old memory, and it's no longer organizing me. Say yes if you guys understand that. So you, yes, please.
To me, all my stories seem bogus. When I start examining them, they seem so definitive.
Yes, that's a very wonderful place to be in. You with me? When that happens, you with me? And but you've been working for many years, and you've held those memories. So eventually, they get thinner and thinner. Then you begin to experience you have no past, and you have no future. And then you really are living timeless awareness in time. That happens, okay? So, but when people haven't had the good fortune and these memories are arising from nowhere, or the felt sense is there, then we have to open the memories to hold the felt sense. And this can really be done in many, many methods are really useful. But there is a dissolving that takes place because we are holding them in awareness. It's not just wishing, because I can actually hold it in awareness. This intensity of awareness, I can feel the feelings arising in the awareness, and I'm not substituting anything for it. Then awareness itself begins to give me the grace of soothingness and the comfort of the metabolism. And I get more energy. And rather than being psychothemic, meaning I have no energy, I start gaining the energy because I've dissolved this experience in my body, right? And it's really two awarenesses are better than one. And a lot of times I can't do it by myself. This is why having a person with me who's in this field with me. If she's just outside me, well, she's watching a movie, you know. But if we're in it together, then this can unfold. Say yes if you guys. So now we're going to move to a little bit more with this. Back again. Almost. This is how we're opening up the year this year. So as this space of awareness opens, the opening of the space of awareness is a path, and the radiance of the awareness is the path. So our embodiment is actually a mass of light, and the center of the radiance is the central channel, right? Most of us know that here. And if you're new and you're sitting with a person, as you made a little while this morning, and you're holding the awareness with them and you're leaning into them, out of the resonance, that will bring forth your channel. The awareness awakens awareness in ourselves and in each other. It's like a luminous pillar of white crystal. And within this channel at the level of the heart, there's a radiant glistening like moon or sun. So here in the heart center, sometimes the text is sometimes moonlight. And it's very milky white moonlight. It's very soothing. It's very maternal. And sometimes it's this fiery sun. It's like the sun, Surya. And both those are necessary. And you want to have a balance of the soft light in your body and also this light that cuts through everything and anything when necessary. Huh? We may say the integrating of the masculine and feminine principles in our own body. And also this mingling, we want to mingle our mind into this too. And with this, the bindus begin to, and the tigles begin to rise. These little circles of light begin to manifest. And so in this way, more and more as we bring our mind into this heart essence and into this embodiment, the mind becomes more infused in the light. And so with our mind itself, as Rongchenpa, the 11th century master, would say, you start having gnosis of the mind and gnosis of awareness. Say yes if that's making sense. Some of you guys are experiencing it too. Gnosis of the mind and gnosis of awareness. So within this fire of awareness, there's also the navel center blazing. So as the energy starts to extend down into the earth and down through the perineum and goes all the way up, and this upward spanda of energy begins unfolding. So we start feeling all this energy, and sometimes it can wake it up and can be intensely sexual. but below the, and so this intentional sexualness arises. A lot of people would try and find masters, they awaken Shaktipat to have a better sex life. It's one of the, so there's a way people try and find to have awakened awareness, because initially, as the energy awakens, it can awaken a lot in the lower centers and becomes intensely sexual. And then if it doesn't move through the navel, one can be stuck with this hyper intensified sexuality. You with me? And then you get caught into that loop. Say yes if you understand this. You really want to? And so sometimes you will meet people who have hypersexuality, and yet there's all this radiant energy that's coming up through that place also, and that's how the energy can be. But a person has to do what? They have to start to hold the energy, hold awareness, and then the Dantian becomes the center. This is the most difficult place for the energy to come through, is the Dantian. So that's why sometimes touch can help open up the Dantian. You enter you enter the energy in there, and you raise it up. This is the hardest doorway. Do you know that? Say yes if you've had. Say yes if you feel that doorway is open. Mr. Ma was focusing on this doorway this morning, right? And then it comes up. As it starts to come up through here, it comes to this spot. This is the most important spot. This is the doorway into the inner heart essence. So the very energy starts to arise. So as the energy comes up through this place, you lose the Freud center, where it's the energy with simply sex and primitive aggression. And also at this point, a lot of our sexual energy is located in a particular form of object relationships. Sometimes good, and sometimes not so good. We have to have a chuckle. Humor's good at this point, right? Because the sexual instinct can be located with all sorts of relational frames, right? Everybody knows this, right? So what this actually does, it liberates the sexual energy from objects, okay? So you begin to experience, as the energy goes through here, the experience of sexuality without an object. Raise your hands if you've experienced that. There's no object, and it's not a function of an object, and it's not a function of others' desire, even your desire. The Four Noble Truths didn't know about this, okay? So, so the energy starts to rise. It still has a sexual component to it, but it's actually really the life force in a more naked way, as Freud would talk about it, in his own unfolding over time. He was a master of this stuff, okay? So here's the energies unfolding, and then it starts to penetrate here. This doorway starts to get opened. Is it painful? Yes, it's painful. It starts to open up. And then it starts to enter here, and then the sexualized component drops aside. Are you with me? And then as it drops aside, the energy starts to come through, and the light begins to open. Very, very powerful. That chakra begins. And not only opens this way, but it opens horizontally even more, okay? So then it starts to really get filled and pulsate, and your body pulsates, undulates more and more. Then it starts to come up through here. Now this is also difficult because this is narrow. The column's big up to this point, and so now you can start having all kind of things and stuck points. But there's also, this happens here, there's two channels. And these two channels go from here, and sometimes even just touching this channel up around through here brings the channel from the heart, the Gati channels, and brings it into the eyes. You with me? So in a Dzogchen point of view, this says that you'll be able to see the light, not simply with third eye, but with your eyes. This is why this is a talk on gazing, actually. You will gaze and you will see the divine light, divinity, primordial awareness as the light, as the radiance with your eyes. And that's also what Rongchampa meant by Gnosis of mind also. You with me? So in a certain way, as this takes place, there's a union with our mind and our ego functions. Say yes if you're understanding this. This is all totally natural. Everybody can do it. But you do have to meditate every day and have a little understanding. And also feel people who have some awareness. So then this opens. Then it goes next to the top of the head. And then you can feel it circulating around like the Ubaru. But also, this starts to open. And paradoxically, this is one of the last centers at opening. So as the palate really begins to open, it starts opening up all the domains more, those realms. What do they call the realm? Like, where does those realms? You go to those realms. You don't really go any place, but the matter you go to the realms after death. Each tradition has its own little realms. What's no? After the Bardos, there's a realm. What's Papa Sambhava's realm called? Who? Dawa Chen. Yeah, Dewa Chen. You go to Dewa Chen. But this opens up all those dimensions, right? Dewa Chen is actually, you don't go any place, as Lama Tarchin would say. But Dewa Chen. And each of ones is the Dakini dimension. Everybody know the Dakini dimension? Name Dakini one. So you go but these are all opening up realms here. But this starts to open up. And so there's a lot more of this exquisite, so the body of light becomes more and more viscous. And then we can feel this viscous light coming through us. And also it helps us have the capacity to extend the heart essence, the heart drops, where we can extend the light into a person as ordinary people, into our dog, cats, friends, people, suffering, dying people. We extend the heart drops, and that viscousness remains in the person, and that it helps gain stability. Say yes if you know. I'd like everybody to raise their hands who know this already. Good.
This isn't linear.
This is non-linear. It's a linear description of it's a non-linear thing. But so this is where our gazing is. So with that, we're now going to stop our little talk. But I do one more little thing this morning. And I would like to talk again about Lama Yangtang Rinpoche, who's a master of the gaze and a master of transmission and a master of the extension of the light. So in the summer of 2013, at the Tibetan Center in Poolesville, Maryland, the very great Lama Yangtang Rinpoche gave instructions on the practice of the great compassion, or as he described the passion being the practice of absolute compassion. And the instruction was to extend the light of awareness into the world, into the cosmos. So anytime you hear of dreadful events taking place, at that moment you enter into it through timeless awareness in time. Timeless awareness is always non-local. Timeless awareness is always non-local. And with that point, you extend the light into those events. And people are going through. You increase the possibility of the light of awareness opening for them in all that dreadfulness, okay? And he lived as much of his life in a Chinese prison, and his master was helping people die with me. So this also has to do with the point of death. And he gave instructions on the Great Compassion. So the instruction was to extend the light of awareness into the world, into the cosmos, and extending the light of awareness into the present moment of the person. The present moment of the person is the present moment for you, and it's the present moment of where that person is when you're in time, even if it's on the video. It's not the present moment of the video, it's in time, their time. Then into the past of the person, and into the future of the person. And continuing extending the light into a person, into their present, extending into their past, and extending into their light of the future. We can do that again right now. We can extend it into our little group, into the present, into the past, into the future. And it's a very proactive practice, and it not only brings a gift towards the person, but it also brings forth awareness within you and fills you. So one of the great ways of bringing forth awareness is through the practice of extension. And the medium is the result. So the great practice is a vast practice, but it takes a boldness of intention and passion of the heart. And you can extend into those you love. And the light of awareness illuminates experience. It metabolizes experience. It opens us into unbound awareness. It undoes fixatedness. If you're fixated, extend the awareness into yourself. It brings forth luminous intensity, and the light of awareness is ultimately pure potentiality. In timeless awareness, where it's arising from, it is pure potentiality. That's why it has so much power. Do not think it's your potentiality in your weak, but it is pure potentiality that you're touching, coming through you into time. Timelessness manifesting in time. This is really the engines of these teachings of gazing. And also this practice can be used for those we hate and with those whom disgust us. It is really useful to use this for those you hate. It is absolute compassion when you use it for people you hate and for those who disgust you. The practice of extending this light of awareness deepens our own experience of becoming the light of awareness. You can wish becoming the light of awareness all you want. You can beg for it. It may help you. But ultimately, extending, or as Dushan Rinpoche would say, take the power into your own hands. Don't pass the buck. As we experience this extending awareness, awareness itself completely opens up for us and deepens our experience both in depth and breadth. Most importantly, the opening of this awareness and radiance of awareness is at the time we begin to experience the secret of the practice opens up. All these practices are considered secret. So sometimes people think their secret means you shouldn't read about them or you need this to... No, even if you read about them, they're still secret, but only by practicing does the secret start to reveal itself, what it really is. So timeless awareness begins to be experienced by us and sustained by us. Timeless awareness is bringing forth, extending the light from the dimension of timeless awareness into the dimension of the light. So, let us do, rather than doing an individual thing, let's do a group thing to this morning, okay? Glad everybody back, and I hope you have a great and a fun year this year. And I hope we're all up for this. Our only condition is unless you're meditating for a really good time, nothing's going to happen. It takes me 20 minutes to no longer think about breakfast, okay? Another 20 minutes to think about what I have to do. I don't feel bad about it, just the way it is. So it takes a while. A lot of times we kid ourselves. We go back into some kind of super ego thing. Some say, oh, you got to do it 10 minutes, or you do it 20 minutes twice a day. Good. Do it. See what happens. Most people say, really do it for a while, right? At least, what's the at least? And do it. And if you're not doing it, then if you're not really doing it, then you're giving me gifts of lots of money. If you're not doing it, I'm just getting gifts. Thank you so much. In the Buddhists, they call it dana. You give dana. And people think by paying for something, they're going to get something back. I don't think so. You follow what I'm saying? Raise your hands if you're understanding what I'm saying. People pay for all sorts of things. Books they never read, courses they never take. But we actually think, really, if I pay for it, something's going to come to me. Don't you guys think that sometime in the secrets of your heart? It's not true. So with that, let's have that's what we have to do, okay? Thank you, guys. So let's create a little thing. Carol, would you mind sitting there? Would you mind sitting there? And I really like how our people on the internet are participating. Skip, you feeling good? Yeah. Great. Right there then. I'm trying to balance out a minute. Can I sit here? Let's fill this out. And let's move closer. Forget if you can't, you can't. But let's move a little closer. And we'd have a lot of people sit. Get more space. Elizabeth is going to sit next to me. Let's see. And you're going to sit next to me here. 3 people here. 3 people there. Karen, you feeling okay? Okay. Skip, move back a little bit. We're going to have 3 people in a line together. Because everybody can do this, right? Okay. Now, we're going to face it here. 3. We're going to face this way. No, we're going to do 3 people. So 3 people are going to come up, okay? And if someone could, Laura's not here. Jeff, would you mind pressing play back on there? And we could just have that chant come back on. Everybody feeling the seminar again? Light. We're going to be focusing a lot on the light. Okay, it was on already? Yeah, shit. That means that wasn't recorded then. Oh, I did that purposely to have this thing recorded. Which one, hon? No, the other player. To the right, hon. To the right. The black thing. That. Okay, that was already in play there too. Technically. Yeah, just turn volume up. It says CD. I thought I turned it off. What happens? Okay, it was black. It was going straight in. That's okay. No problem. Here we go. No, you won't hear it. This won't be on the videos. Because when we have the music on, you can just hear the music. That's okay. We'll do that again. Yeah, 2 other people. 2 other people come in. You look great. 2 more people can come leap in the middle. Leap into the pit. The pit. Great. Want to go louder? Let's go a little louder. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff saves us here. He does. That's it, fantastic. So all these different traditions move into our body, right? And they mix. So let's extend to the people in the middle. Ask Kate to walk around and touch people on that side. And ask Tom to walk around and touch people on your side. So we're going to practice extending to each other. And if you want to touch the person next to you, you're welcome. Because you want to feel the energy. When you feel the energy start to come through your body, then you touch a person and you stretch the fascia just a tiny little bit. And then you feel the energy moving into that person, huh? And we also focus on all the people we know and love who have moved, huh? Into the dimension of the light. You with me? And we extend to them. We're actually focusing on timeless awareness in time. We can do both simultaneously. our extension is always inside to inside. It may seem to be outside to outside, but it's really inside to inside. This is a chant to the Guru, which is the light of awareness manifesting in ourself and in others. Let's intensify this energy again. Let's intensify it. So the capacity of intensification, modulation if it's too much, extension, and also magnetization. Let's extend the inner heart essence to the three people in the middle. The heart drops. You don't quite will this. It's more like a deep wish. In timeless awareness, as you and I focus on timeless awareness and practice the power of extension, and so more light arises, and then slowly but surely, annihilation anxiety begins to dissolve. And so with timeless awareness becomes felt as deathless awareness. You begin to enter that quality of feeling unborn and undying. Ultimately, it's metaphors of being in timeless awareness. If you think you have to earn this, and you have to do 70,000 of this and 90,000 of that, it's really useful to do 70,000 of this and 90,000 of that. It's very useful. But the gift of awareness is unto itself. The reward of goodness is goodness itself. That's why it's really great to embrace goodness, virtue. You want to free yourself of all the superego conditions, right? Say yes. As long as you're under that domain, you're a slave. Yes, Master. Yes, Master. By focusing the power of the light into that judgmentalness, it dissolves it. Thank you guys so much. You look beautiful. That was really pretty. You guys have good summers, I think. Thank you all. 3 more people come. If you're new, if you're visiting, you can come up if you want. If you're a visitor, you don't have to come up. But if you want to, you can come up. 3 more people. One more person. Let's extend again. I like beginning our seminar one more year. This seminar is not for everyone, I know that. I sort of like that too, in a happy way. But for them, it really fits completely. Then, if it fits for you, it fits for us, then a lot can happen. But if it doesn't fit for you, and you're still waiting for something to happen, probably nothing is going to happen. invoke the Guru in each other. There's awareness manifesting herself. Let's extend inside to inside. Three more people. Thank you guys. Intensify the energy some more. For the gesture, learning to do that. Thank you. Let's extend to each other again. Inside to inside. So directly. Feel our backs opening up, right? Light coming through. We'll also extend to that wonderful priest who's coming here in October. We'll extend again to Tai Situ, who's going to be going to the monastery. Norla. Such a vast amount of work they've done this summer. Unbelievable. Have a wonderful golden Tara they sent here. And this Saturday we'll start off with the practice Tatara, the white Tara, the light of pure awareness. So of course devotion is the juice, right? The juice, the energy to awareness itself. extend to Juliet for a moment. She may or may not be on right now, but or anyone else who's ill in our little group, I will extend. Thank you so much. Maybe 3 more people. We'll extend to Astrid. And we'll extend some more now. Maybe 3 more people. Extend to our friends on the internet. Welcome back. Anybody else? 2 more. Steve, when will you be leaving? Will you be leaving soon or December? Okay, great. You guys want to say anything as we end up today? We can lower just a little bit, but you went the wrong way. Remember that Godaba Tantra, right? You're really in the Godaba Tantra. We're bringing things into the Hridayam, heart essence. We're bringing the mind into the heart essence. With me? Sometimes in a blissful state, it arises naturally and infuses the mind. Sometimes the bliss itself can do that. But sometimes, if it's not working, really good point. Let me just take that first. That fourth, the Tantra, Tara Tantra, is also where bliss became more and more powerful. That bliss overcomes suffering. So there's a big change in the 2nd century and the 4th century. And all these Tantra groups, there was an exchange of teachers. With the Orthodox, which is pretty much more straighter, so to speak, with me, linear. In the Tantrics, nothing is linear, nothing's straight, until you have an exchange of masters. So you start having this mixing of these different traditions. See you next week. And maybe some on the 8 o'clock in the morning will come on if you want to. And 8 o'clock we'll do the practice of the white Tara. And then I think I may put some of Lama Torture, and again going back to speaking about Durjam Lingpa's Song of Realization, which is such a culminating text. And then I think this Friday, I may give the same talk meditation as Friday. Thank you guys. See you later. Hasta la vista. Take it easy.
Bhagavan